This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. In the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special, there's one moment I think that makes no sense in the normal continuity. This moment is when Vader returns minutes before he is burned alive by Obi-Wan Kenobi after he removes his other arm and both of his legs. I think in a real timeline, Vader would stay and kill Obi-Wan before Obi-Wan could get the high ground. To be clear, for this theory, it's going to be set in a regular continuity, so it will not be a fun one, like the LEGO one. And going by the time travel rules, where future Vader and Rey will not be erased from the timeline, because of the changes, and they will be time remnants, as described in The Flash, with Reverse Flash in Season 2. To clarify who is who, Vader from the future will be Vader, and we will use Anakin to describe the present version. Also, since there's no lava waterfalls in the film, there will be none in this version. Now that I've clarified everything, we can begin. Vader, Rey, and some snowtroopers fall through a time portal and land on a few platforms on the planet of Mustafar. After quickly clashing, one of the snowtroopers informs Vader he has a crystal. As Rey grabs it, Vader looks around, realizing when he is. Rey grabs the crystal, but Vader uses the moment of distraction as she's grabbing it to jump onto the platform and kill her. He turns around and sees a scenario that's played out thousands of times in his head. His younger self fights Obi-Wan Kenobi on a small platform. Obi-Wan jumps back to get the high ground. Vader ignites his lightsaber once again, throws it, cutting Kenobi in half, and using the Force to toss his body into the lava as it burns away instantly. Both Vader and Anakin jump to the high ground, where they stare at each other. Anakin, thinking Vader is a threat, charges him, but Vader, knowing all the moves his former self could make, is able to block them easily, and calmly explains to him, "If I wanted you dead, I would have pushed you into the lava after Kenobi left. You were dead. But I would just be killing myself, Anakin." Anakin looks confused, and Vader continues on. "Send 3PO and R2 to take Padme to safety. We must kill the Emperor because he will stop at nothing to kill her. Don't make the same mistakes I made." Anakin looks at him and asks, "Why should I believe you?" Vader pulls up his mask as Anakin stares into his own eyes. Vader quickly pulls it back down and begins to readjust his breathing. Anakin turns and goes up to 3PO. He tells him, "Take Padme to the closest medical station and I will follow shortly." Palpatine's shuttle lands on Mustafar, and the Sith Lord exits his ship. He's surprised to see his apprentice waiting for him, and tells him, "Lord Vader, I felt a disturbance in the Force. I thought you were in danger." Anakin smiled and looked up to Palpatine, with his eyes glowing yellow. "Ah, so it's time for a lesson, Lord Vader." Palpatine begins, but then he's confused. He feels a lightsaber go through his chest, and the last thing he hears is heavy, mechanical breathing. On Polis Massa, Padme's ship lands. C-3PO and R2 quickly exit with Padme and are greeted by Bail Organa and Yoda. Padme is in labor, so they rush her quickly to a medical room. R2 makes some noise, and 3PO tells him to quiet down, and they'll tell them what happened to Master Anakin later. Both Bail and Yoda look at each other with concern, but before they can explain anything, C-3PO comes in, telling them Oh, Master Anakin should be fine. He said something about meeting with the Emperor, and then he will come to see you. Both Bail and Yoda are now terrified and run to get Padme and the children out of there. They run to the exit, but before they could get out, they see Anakin standing there, and behind him, a figure, all in black, doing heavy mechanical breathing. Yoda is desperate and tries to pull one of their lightsabers to him, but Anakin is far too powerful now on the dark side. He simply grabs Yoda and puts him into a force choke, strangling the Jedi Master to death, and then ignites his lightsaber, killing Bail Organa, and finally going to see his wife and children. Padme looks upon her husband with horror, and Anakin, ignoring her, simply picks up his children and declares himself Emperor of the Galaxy. Things get far worse now with the timeline. The Darth Vader in the future decides to stay behind and advise his younger self, knowing he will not be able to rule, and he stands no chance against himself at the full potential, but realizes he could still be able to see what it was like for him to be able to have a family, and of course be a great advisor and have more power in this empire than he did in Palpatine's. The first thing that Vader found essential was to make sure that all time travel was destroyed as he searched through the timeline with the crystal he has and sealed anything that could give a possibility of it, including destroying the time crystal of this reality and sealing the entrance to the world between worlds so that no one will be able to mess with the timeline. Realizing his body is weak and he will not be able to last forever within this suit, Vader builds a new body, completely cybernetic, knowing that he may not be able to use the Force, but his consciousness will be alive forever. Using the tech of Dr. Silo, he's able to implant his mind into the new body and has the one and only time crystal built into it. So now he will be able to live forever and is the only one who can make changes to the timeline. Nothing happens for 20 years as Vader raises his kids as Sith, as he's assisted by his future self. Padme hates who her husband has become and begins to build the rebellion with her close friend Ahsoka Tano and any remaining Jedi that are alive. They eventually lead an attack on Scarif to steal the Death Star plans, which Vader still built because he realized how great it was putting fear into the people, and the Death Star was the perfect tool for that. After a successful attack on Scarif, the rebels are able to take back the plans to their base. Things, of course, are different this time. Future Vader, knowing of the fallen Death Star, lets Galen Erso think he put it in there, but secretly had the plans changed without anyone knowing or updating the archives in Scarif. So, when the rebellion leads their attack on the Death Star, which is not a direct attack on the base, just an attack like the one on the second Death Star, they're not able to destroy it, and the rebel fleet is nearly completely destroyed, and the rest of them are brought in for treason, including Ahsoka and Padme. Realizing his importance, Vader places Thrawn at the head of the Empire instead of Tarkin, and using Death Star technology, they make Star Destroyers similar to the ones in The Rise of Skywalker, but are much more powerful, and are backed up by squadrons of TIE Defenders and more powerful ships. Any invasion by alien species like the Grisk or the Vong will be instantly defeated, with the Empire being so powerful is able to wipe them out before they could even make a small foothold in the galaxy. Finally, I would like to discuss what happened with Anakin's kids, Luke and Leia. Luke follows in the steps of his father and is going to be the heir to the Empire. He eventually takes his secret lover, Mara Jade, one of the Emperor's hands, as his Empress and overthrows his father. Of course, there are two kids of Anakin Skywalker, and you'll be wondering what happens with Leia. Leia, wanting to do something of her own, goes and takes control of the criminal underworld and marries Han Solo as they rule over all crime in the galaxy. The Empire, run by the Skywalker family, and the criminal organizations run by the Solo family, take complete control of the galaxy, putting it into eternal darkness with no hope to be ever seen again. Now that we all have had that very nice and heartwarming story, I do hope everyone a happy holidays, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories, and may the Force be with you.